Hello everyone, I'm here with Melanie Gardner. Melanie is a client of mine roughly 8 months ago. And, well, Melanie, why don't you tell people what it is that you came to me for?
About 8 months ago, I was experiencing anxiety, panic attacks. I'd gone through something traumatic at that point and needed some guidance and some tools to pull myself out of the darkness that I was feeling at that time.
Okay. And so how are you feeling now, and how have you been feeling for the past 8 months?
I feel fantastic. Yeah. No panic attacks, no anxiety anymore. And
The panic attacks, can you describe the severity? Like, what was happening?
tightness in breath, couldn't breathe, felt like somebody was standing on my chest. Heart rate was increased,
How often would
racing
that happen?
thoughts. It was daily.
It would happen every day?
Yeah, to the point I was taking Ativan daily for about a month.
Okay, and are you taking Ativan now?
No,
So-
and haven't been very quickly after probably our first or second.
Okay, and you consulted with your doctor before making any
Yeah,
changes?
they were
to
just
medication?
meant to be used when feeling that emotion or feeling. Yeah.
Okay, but you were taking it every day because you were having the feeling every day. How quickly after we started working together did you start to feel relief?
Probably by the second visit.
Okay, so within 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What would you say to somebody that might be watching this video that's suffering from panic attacks and anxiety and has tried, because you tried some of the traditional methods before you came to me, correct?
Yeah, I found counseling wasn't for me. I don't have a hard time talking about things. I'm a hairstylist. We talk openly about our feelings and emotions, and talking wasn't helping solve the problems or the issues that I was having. I needed tools. I needed a tool to, that's who I am. I needed something.
You needed something to do.
Yeah.
That's something that I hear this all the time. You're not the first person to say this. When people have something to do and they can train their minds to assign better meanings to life events because they create better internal representations up here, they literally begin to see the world differently. I think it was Dr. Wayne Dyer that said, if you want the world to change, just look at it differently, and voila, the world changes.
Mm-hmm.
How much sense does that make to you right now when I say that, considering how much your life has changed over the last 8 months?
Well, it makes so much sense. The more you think about something and talk yourself into, the more you're going to believe it. So if you're in a down and dark, and it just seems like a continual spiral because you can't pull yourself out of it. So when you have tools to be able to think differently and think positively, it changes. It's a game changer.
And thinking positively is, would you agree with me that your version of positive thinking today is very different than what you thought positive thinking was before we did this work?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I commonly hear from people is people sometimes feel like positive thinking is going to be the solution, and as long as they force themselves to think positively, that they're going to get a better result. The problem is that the thinking they're doing is not really positive, because they don't understand what positive thinking actually is. I mean, I can't go into more detail on that right here. It's part of what I show my clients and teach my clients, is how to think effectively, how to think in a way that's likely to move you towards a particular outcome, just like you're experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to somebody who's on the fence and is thinking, should I reach out for help to what's considered a non-traditional type of a method, which obviously this is what this is, right?
Well, I think if people have tried other things and they've tried counseling and it's not worked for them, like, why not?
Yeah, and that's what a lot of my clients tend to be, especially for people who have anxiety. Typically, the first thing a person thinks of when they have anxiety is, I should find a hypnotist.
Mm-hmm.
That's not usually the first thing that people do. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing for people to call me first, and on occasion I do get that. A lot of times though, what I get are the people that have tried many other things, and right when they almost are resigning themselves to the idea that they can't improve, then they start to go, well, maybe I'll just try this, because it's like a last ditch effort.
I had to do something because nothing else was working. Nothing. It was just a vortex of a black hole, round and around.
Well, I'm glad you're doing so well now.
Well, I am. Thank you to you
Yeah.
for the tools that you've given me to be able to come out and be confident and be positive again in my life.
Well, thank you for doing this video, because this is how other people get helped.
Well, I hope that if people are struggling, that they do reach out in any way. Like, it's not just specific things that you do.
Yeah, there were other areas of
Yeah.
life for you that improved that had nothing to do with anxiety.
Mhm.
And that's bound to happen when you think more effectively, because you're going to frame other areas of your life differently as well. It's not only that your panic attacks went away,
Mhm.
it's that you were able to look at other areas of life and say, if I view that situation differently, could I possibly access better behaviors that will lead to better outcomes?
Mhm. And unpacking baggage, like unpacking childhood traumas, past things that have happened that are brought continually into the present. I didn't want to suffer through that anymore. I didn't want my past dictating my present anymore.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up. So let me just go through this really quickly. I'll unpack what you just said about unpacking your history.
Mm-hmm.
All new information gets compared to old information. And if the old information that you have as a comparison is full of unresolved negative emotion, then you're more likely to experience negative emotion in the present. So one of the things that's required, in my view anyway, in my humble opinion, to really be well settled and to be able to live in a positive emotional state the bulk of the time, and to be able to minimize the duration and the intensity of negative emotion, in order to be able to live that life, you need to be able to go into your history and reframe your negative emotional history so that it no longer has any control on you in the present.
And it really makes a difference in the choices that you make in the present and in the future if you haven't dealt with
Your
past.
Yeah, because the past memories, and we all have them, they're there, they're in the past. The negative emotion, though, is also there. It's not here. And when we feel like it's here and we live every day as though it's here, we can create difficulties for ourselves, depression, anxiety. When we go, oh, I remember that memory, it was there, and you know what? The emotion that went with that memory is also there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not here with me, it's there. That's what Mel's describing. That's where I get all of my clients to this position, and we do that relatively quickly, because making real positive change for the future and creating a vision for a better life, it's a heck of a lot easier when you can do this with all of your negative emotional history. All that baggage just needs to go. It's already gone, so we might as well just make sure that the negative emotion stays back there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Thanks very much, Mel.
Thank you.